All right, Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom, Lahab Akoyim. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. And before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. To you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakatham. All right. I'm going to get this started in the book of Job. Job chapter 18 and verse 5. It says, "Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall deliver the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors." All right. So this is a video that I was put on by the beloved elder Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? And so many brothers have jumped on this video, you know what I'm saying? First I heard Elder Malcolm, then I heard Elder Apostle Tahar do a land back on his video, and I just got finished. I just started listening to Elder Aishiyar, which I gotta finish his video, but it sparked me to get this lesson because I've been wanting to get this lesson through all day while I was listening to it at work. You know what I'm saying? Listening to Elder Malcolm, Elder Apostle Tahar, all right, and just now Elder Aishiyar, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm in a position to get this thing done. You know what I'm saying? The water Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, I get to jump on this subject, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is right before Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, Nero gets up on the podium and addresses the State of the Union. Salak. All right. So this is right before President Donald Trump. Salakia. Right before Donald Trump gets on the podium and addresses the State of the Union. So I believe that's going to happen within the hours. So let me try and get this through. All right. As I said, I was listening to, the elders that jumped on this subject. And I believe a couple days ago, yeah, right before I started camp yesterday, not yesterday, but the day before, um, Sunday. Today's Tuesday. Salakia. So I jumped on that video, and uh, uh it was going into the fact that Tucker Carlson was having an interview. Yeah, Tucker Carlson was having an interview with Mike Huckabee. All right, and Mike Huckabee was talking about these Amalekites having full rights to the land. You know what I'm saying? And in the broader sense, he was pretty much alluding to the Greater Israel Project, where they could take and you know uh, pretty much colonize all these other nations. You know what I'm saying, in the surrounding region. All right, Lebanon, Syria, okay, and Iran is among that region. So um so yeah, basically Mike Huckabee was using a biblical perspective in order to justify, all right, these Amalekites annexing all these different nations in the region. You know what I'm saying? And when given pushback by Tucker Carlson, okay, Mike Huckabee was pretty much unable to answer the question. All right, a very simple question, but he was being very disingenuous in his answers. You see what I'm saying? Tiptoeing around the question. He was giving, all right, he was answering the question with a question. You know what I'm saying? So it was all types of buffoonery. Okay, but here's the thing. The world has seen this interview. All right? The world is now asking the serious questions. The world is now asking the serious questions. And as Elder Aishiyar had mentioned, this internet's not going to be on. It's not going to be here very long. You know what I'm saying? They have got to get a hold of this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Very soon. Because this thing, they taking way too many L's, way too many losses with the amount of information that has been able to be streamed and 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 shared millions of times over. You see what I'm saying? This is why I left TikTok, because I can, after these Amalekites have taken over TikTok and all these different parameters are in place. You know what I'm saying? The Spirit told me to just get up off of that, so I got off of it. But very soon, YouTube's going to be gone. All right. Daily Motion. What else? Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. You know what I'm saying? So it's all going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? And this is why. The amount of truth that is sprung out. And in order for them to be in a position of rulership, they have to remain the victims. You know what I'm saying? They have to maintain the sympathy. You see? But now it's coming out to the forefront that they have no ties to this land. This has nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? The only instance that they have with this land in terms of prophecy is the lot of the ones who steal the land. You see? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. All right. Let's see. Ezekiel chapter 36. All right, Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 1, it says, "Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains, all right, of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, because the enemy hath said against you, Aha, even us, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord power, because they have made you desolate, and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people. Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord power. Thus saith Yahweh power to the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. Okay? And what you're going to hear in this video is that these Christians, all right, these so-called Christians, these so-called white Christians are poking at these so-called JOOs, okay, as being Edom. And then at the same time, these Amalekites, all right, these JOOs are calling Christianism Edom. They're calling the so-called white Christian Edom. They're calling America Edom. You see what I'm saying? So basically, this is the whole back and forth between the tribes of Edom, where they're both pointing the finger at each other. You see what I'm saying? Both of them are Edom. Two things are correct at the same time. But at the same time, two things are correct at once, but at the same time, they're all incorrect. You know what I'm saying? So it's this big conundrum that you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? This big conundrum that you're looking at, man. Like these jokers, okay, you got these Amalekites over in the Holy Land. They're pointing their fingers saying that you're Edom. And then these so-called Christians are pointing their fingers saying, no, you're Edom. You're both Edom. All of you are Edomites. You see? You just happen to be from different tribes. But that's the result of the lie having been persistent for so long. You see what I'm saying? The lie has been pushed for so many decades, for so many centuries, so many millennia. Okay? Not even millennia, I'm going too far, but so many centuries, right? Where, all right, these so-called JOOs were able to push the narrative, okay, of them being the chosen people and yada, yada, yada. And then at the same time, they gave these lower class Edomites the, what's the word? The veneer of whiteness, you know what I'm saying? It's a sort of noble status that they was given by being called white. You know what I'm saying? That was what was given to them. Meanwhile, they take the riches, they take the lands, they take the resources. You see? And now when it counts the most, these Amalekites, which are the head tribe of the nation of Edom, have taken the blessing, they've taken the wealth and all the things, the blessing, the resources, okay, and they left the rest of the Edomites out to dry. Okay? So yeah, man. Let's listen to this video a little bit. And I got another video that I had, okay, that I've been meaning to jump into. All right, but the time is definitely now for me to bring it out. So check this out.
of Edom. Now, this is coming from actually the term Rothschild, and we're going to talk about that today. We've kind of been on a series after the Epstein Files release on Epstein and the end times and the synagogue of Satan. And this is a continuation of that series where we'll be discussing these connections. In fact, if you don't know this, in the Epstein emails, Epstein...
Oh, Salakia, by the way, fair use, fair use, fair use. All right. This is for educational purposes only.
Synagogue of Satan. And this is a continuation of that series where we'll be discussing these connections. In fact, if you don't know this, in the Epstein emails, Epstein wrote Peter Thiel, who is the founder of Palantir, the surveillance company that's going to play a major role here in these last days. And he said, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. And that's a very key piece of information, because what that means is there is a hierarchy to this synagogue of Satan and to these group of people who are serving the devil here on earth and creating a vast network, right? How is the Antichrist going to obtain control of such a large portion of the earth? Well, there's a lot of groundwork that has to be done in advance. The surname Rothschild originates from German, meaning red shield. Now, most people know that. Okay, most people realize that the Rothschilds are Ashkenazis, they're German Jews, and that their last name means red shield. They've been around for a long time. They played a major role in the facilitation and founding of the current modern state of Israel.
All right, so on that point, he mentioned, out of the Epstein files, right? He said that according to those files, okay, your boy Jeffrey had mentioned that he represents the Rothschilds. Okay, this is why he was able to maneuver in the way that he has been for so long. This is why he was able to rub shoulders with the most influential men, okay, around the world, because he is actually backed specifically by the Rothschild. Okay, the Rothschilds. Okay, so I was looking at, and I remember I was going through RT News, and throughout the weeks after the Epstein files came out, and so the point being is that they actually touched on this reporting. They actually touched on this file. Okay, that Jeffrey was very well acquainted with the Rothschilds. Okay. So one of these reportings here I was looking at, and I remember looking at it. This is from RT News. I'm just reading the headline. It says, Epstein pitched many opportunities in post-coup Ukraine to Rothschild executive. Okay, and who was this Rothschild that he was in close proximity with? Okay, this particular Rothschild was Ariane de Rothschild, who is the head of the Swiss private bank. Okay, the Swiss private banking firm. Okay, from the Edmund de Rothschild group. So this is a woman who's a part of the Rothschild family through marriage. Okay, Epstein knew this lady. You see what I'm saying? He still knows this lady because he's not dead. He's not dead. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is, I remember I was listening to Elder Apostle Tahar this afternoon, and he was pretty much saying that if anyone could confirm if Epstein was representing the Rothschilds to bring that forward, well, this is it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just reading the headline from RT.com. It says Epstein pitched many opportunities in the post-coup Ukraine to Rothschild executive. You know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is that, you know, this whole situation that went down in Ukraine, okay, before the year 2020, like before the year 2022, um, the the country of Ukraine went through a coup, all right, and there was a toppling uh of the actual democratically elected leader, you know what I'm saying, at that time. And this is actually proving the fact that the Rothschilds were behind that coup in toppling the government there. Okay? I believe this was in 2014. And then what happened? Then they bring in Zelensky. Okay? And what was Zelensky before he came into politics the way that he has? He was a comedian. He was a comedian. He was an actor. You know what I'm saying? Well, then you take a look at Trump. All right, Nero Trump. What was he doing? He was an actor. All right, he was a you know, pretty much a cameo in Hollywood. You see? So they take these puppets and they put them in power. All right? So that's that's to prove that Jeffrey Epstein had had clear ties with the Rothschild family. Okay?
They're German Jews, and that their last name means Red Shield. They've been around for a long time. They played a major role in the facilitation and founding of the current modern state of Israel, and we're going to talk about that today.
Oh, they've been involved in far more than that. They've been involved in the Bolshevik revolution. They've been involved with the assassination of the Romanov family. Okay, that's the family that that the movie Anastasia is based off of. Okay, if you look at that movie Anastasia, you can see that there was a major attack upon the palace. Okay, and the one villain who was the most vehement in terms of hunting down the Romanov family, okay? Look at that villain. All right, he was into witchcraft. He was into sorcery. And then you look at him very clearly, he looks just like an Amalekite. All right? He looks just like an Amalekite. Big nose, you know what I'm saying, long hair, black hair, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You can see that movie and you'll see the similarities. You see what I'm saying? And the Rothschilds had a very clear hand to play in what happened in that, you know what I'm saying? So just want to point that out.
But here's the part that people don't know, and we're going to make a lot of connections. So today's sermon is really going to cover not just the Rothschild family, but this long-term connection from Edom all the way to the Antichrist in the last days. And I want you guys to see these key connections. When it's translated into Hebrew, based on its etymological meaning, it corresponds to Magen Edom. Okay, what do I mean by that? The term Rothschild, that family name, means Magen Edom in Hebrew. Now, some people will say it means red shield in Hebrew as well. Well, the problem with that is that the word for red and the word for Edom in Hebrew is the exact same word, okay? The exact same word. And so Magen Edom would be translated into English, shield of Edom, or the shield of the Edomites. And so the Rothschild family are the shield of the Edomites. Now, that's going to be significant as we dive into this, but if you watch my sermon...
Very well said. Very well said. And this is why they're the head, all right, the head um house of the Amalekites. Okay? They're the head house of the 13 families. The 13 families are from the Amalekite, the tribe of Amalek, I should say. The 13 families, they come from the tribe of Amalek. They know that they come from this tribe. They know that they come from the house of Edom. You see what I'm saying? These 13 families. All right? Now, the majority of these Amalekites don't know that. Only the elite of them. You know what I'm saying? And this whole system that they're building around us, you know what I'm saying? This whole digital system, this whole temple that they're building, whatnot, they're trying to make themselves be the elect. All right. All of these things that they're doing is on the left-hand side. Okay. A new world. There's going to be a new world. Make no mistake, there will be a new world. There will be a great reset. Most certainly. But they're trying to make this happen on their terms. They want to be the ones to be the chosen. They want to be the ones, all right, to be the elect, to be the 144,000, what have you. You know what I'm saying? The things that are promised to the righteous, they want to have it. You see? When you look at the book Who is Esau Edom, you know what I'm saying? What does it say? It says that Esau is hated of God. You know what I'm saying? So of course, if you know that you're hated of God, then what are you going to do? You're going to burn down everything that the Lord that the Lord loves. You know, and this is what we've been seeing throughout the centuries. You see what I'm saying? And that's also reiterated in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. All right.
In the Canaanites, you might already be making some connections. In 1917, Lionel Walter Rothschild was the recipient of the Balfour Declaration from Britain. This is a pretty famous document, which stated His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. So the British government tells the Rothschild family, we support you in founding a Jewish nation. In other words, in creating a new Israel. The Rothschilds have been instrumental in creating the modern nation called Israel. And today we're going to learn more about who the Edomites are and what is prophesied about them in the last days. So if you watched Epstein and the Canaanites, you learned about the Canaanites and how the DNA of the modern Ashkenazi is actually Canaanite DNA. And if you understand the Edomites are Esau mixing with the Canaanites.
Okay. And as the elder Malcolm and the elder Apostle Tahar had corrected, okay, their lineage doesn't go back to Canaan. All right, they didn't mix with the Canaanites or anything like that. Okay. But they do have much of their sorcery, much of their practices goes back to these ancient customs. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's why you see Molech Baal. That's why you see these different deities that they have in terms of their idol worship. You know what I'm saying? That has a huge part to play in their sorcery. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the Bohemian Grove and you have a 12-foot tall owl and that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So these things go back to ancient systems, all right, ancient civilizations that we, the Israelites, were told not to mirror ourselves after. You see? But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? It's so much going on out here, you know what I'm saying, in terms of these devils being found out. All right, that they have to shut this thing down very soon. They got to shut it down. Right? They got to shut it down. Let me get this real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 24. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and art also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh. You see? So this is why they're being found out. You know what I'm saying? That whole interview with Tucker Carlson. All right, you got these so-called Christians just calling them out, you know what I'm saying, pointing the finger. Everything's being seen. Like how many people seen this video? 117,000 views. Okay? 117,361 views. You see what I'm saying? That's crazy work, man. That means what? That means that the truth is going out there, man. The fact that these Epstein files are released is substantial. The whole world can see just how depraved this place is. And now they're starting to piece together the puzzle that these Amalekites, these small hats, have had their hand in all these world affairs. You see? You can't tell me that it's not a small hat behind what's going on in Mexico right now. The very fact that a small hat is the president of Mexico says everything. You see? Nothing is coincidental. All right? This is all by the will of the Lord. All of these things are happening right now on this, at this pivotal moment. You know what I'm saying? So let me show you this other video that I have. Bear with me.
Is a group called the Illuminati. Who are the Illuminati? Make a long story short, there are 13 families that control the resources and the entire planet. And they have their ancestry goes all the way back to Sumerian times. And where they changed into the Babylonians, they became the Khazars. They entered into Europe, where they merged with the Celtic remnants or the Atlantean refugees, which became the Merovingians. And then that, over the centuries, broke into 13 distinct families that controlled Europe at the time, and then now the entire planet. And are there names for these families? Yes, you have the Windsors, the Rothschilds, the Romanovs, the Sinclairs. There's a very wide.
Well, there's the thing. He said the Romanovs. All right, he said the Romanovs. The Romanovs were once considered among this family. All right. But they was taken out because the Romanov family didn't want anything to do with their new world. They didn't want anything to do with their new world. They didn't want anything to do with their central bank. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they were taken out. And only Anastasia was left. You know what I'm saying? But this guy's he's saying that that their lineage goes back to the Sumerians, okay, which became the Babylonians. No, that's not what that was. All right, that's not what that was. You see what I'm saying? What they do have is what continues to this day in terms of their practice. Their practices goes back to the ancient Sumerians. Their practices go back to the ancient Babylonians. You see what I'm saying? All right, they came back as Esau. That's what they came back as. And they know full well, all right, they know full well that they descend from Esau, Edom. Okay? So, going back a little bit.
Europe at the time, and then now the entire planet. And are there names for these families? Yes, you have the Windsors, the Rothschilds, the Romanovs, the Sinclairs. There's a very wide range of Illuminati, but even more so is the range underneath the 13, which is the Committee of 300, which are 300 families that work very closely in association with the Illuminati to accomplish the goals. You mentioned.
Yeah, that's where you get the Billy Boy Gates. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get the Clintons. That's where you get the Bushes. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get these families that are closely tied in. You know what I'm saying? And somebody did the research and found out that all these presidents, even Obama, all of them included, you know what I'm saying, they all go back to they all are distant relatives. You see what I'm saying? They all are distant relatives. So this is not a coincidence, man.
In your book, that another way of describing the Illuminati is the New World Order.
Right. And now there's actual what's the word? There's actual politicians, there's actual politicians that are now openly saying, all right, this new world order is being established. You know what I'm saying? They're now openly saying it. You see what I'm saying? So they're able to say these things openly. They're able to release these Epstein files openly. They're able to, you know what I'm saying, do all these things out in the open. Why? Because now, all right, now it's time for this thing to commence. You know what I'm saying? They have everything in place. All they need is the right event to take place. The right event has to take place, man, and then all of it is going to fall in line. And this is what they think is going to be perfected, man. All right, but the Lord's going to put a monkey wrench in their plans. Okay. This is Job chapter 20. All right, Job chapter 20 and verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. All right. And shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You see what I'm saying? So when they think that they have, successfully, put their plans in motion, that's when the Lord is going to stop it. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of people that's going to perish. Make no mistake, man. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to perish. All right. But the Lord said that this is not going to come nigh his elect. You know what I'm saying? And even those of us that are martyrs, he promised that that those of us who are martyred are going to be able to enjoy, you know what I'm saying, those new bodies and salvation first. To be the first to taste of these salvation, to be the first to be on the chariot, to be the first to have the new bodies, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, these are the families. These are the families, and at the helm of the family are the Rothschilds. You know what I'm saying? You got the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Warburgs, Gettys, DuPonts. You know what I'm saying? Oppenheimers, Ashtons. You see what I'm saying? All of these families, you know what I'm saying? The Schickelgrubers, you know what I'm saying? They all are connected. Okay? So, that's pretty much it. I wanted to do my own little land back on that. All right. Is that going on? Damn. So, yeah, I'm going on 40 minutes, man. So, I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.